It's been a rough few days for Chicago Bulls fans, and I think the morale around Bulls Nation is at one of the lowest points that it's been really since AKME took over, and they've earned that, right? When, and seeing your team not really do anything to improve they didn't do anything to improve at the trade deadline. Then you get comments from our president of basketball operations that doesn't really align with what we see from the team, and then the team goes out and drops a game to the Brooklyn Nets in just a disrespectful fashion to their fan base. We're going to talk about those things. We're also going to talk about the Bulls apparently being the front runners to land Russell Westbrook, according to Woj. We're going to preview the Bulls versus Cav game going down tonight. And we're also going to dive into the voicemails. It is Saturday, so it's a mailbag day. We're going to get into all that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
All right, Bulls fans, welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central. I'm coming down with something. I'm a little sick, guys, but I'm going to fight through it because I'm also sick of these goddamn Bulls. But with that being said, the Bulls face the Cavs today, and the Cavs did face a late game yesterday. It was like at the end of the first half, it was already almost 11 p.m. Eastern time. So they played pretty late. They faced the Bulls tonight. They did get a win over the Pels, by the way. But the Cavs, I expect this game to be a massacre. I'm not going to do heavy previewing like I do and talk about ranking here, ranking there. I'm not going to do it today. I don't have it in me, and the Bulls suck. And we know that the Bulls can compete with anyone, and this is the type of game after dropping a game to the Brooklyn Nets that the Bulls do step in and maybe even get a dominant win. But I'm not predicting that. I'm not going to expect that from this team. I'm not really expecting much from this team for the rest of the season. Now, will they surprise me? Let's hope so. There is some possibility of that. We've seen it from the team before, where they've won a game where we've just kind of gone into it and been like, hey, we're not looking too high on this team, and then they come out and just execute. So there is a possibility of that. And if that does happen, shout out to the Bulls for doing it. But at the end of the day, it's this. The way that I look at it is the Bulls need to win. They need to win a lot of games. And, whatever they do in this game against the Cleveland Cavaliers today, we'll see. Defensively, do they look a little bit better? Do we get a better performance from players overall? Do they actually shoot the ball like an NBA team? There's a lot of things that we can question on if this team's going to do. Is Patrick Williams going to be passive P again? Is he just going to be standing in the corner looking at things like a dumbass? Is Ayo Dosunmu going to be there with his mouth up? Is that how Ayo Dosunmu was going to go through the game? Like, all these things make sense, right? Like, we'll see what comes from this Bulls team today, and I do hope that they can, stand up and have a better output. And, we'll see, like, this is a team that they have no wins against. They have not won a single game against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Yes, our last two games against them did end in ways after the last 2-minute report came out that we should have or maybe could have been in better position to win those games. But at the end of the day, we'll see. Whatever happens with this Bulls team is going to be told on the court, and we'll see if they actually have a little bit more pride about themselves after losing to a team in the Brooklyn Nets that had just been together for a couple of days. We'll end up seeing that. The Bulls I don't even know if they are a team that even gets motivated by embarrassment. This team may be too stupid to embarrass. I don't know, right? The players have to have some type of pride, and we haven't seen that consistently. We've seen a little bit of it at times. And shout out to Vooch and Zach LaVine, the only two players in that game who really even played to give us a chance to even be formidable in that game. And Zach LaVine had a terrible fourth quarter, but, we'll end up seeing what comes from this game. But I'll tell you what, I'm not hopeful. I think a massacre is coming. And I think the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to come into this game with a huge amount of confidence because they've just kicked the Bulls' ass all fucking season. So we'll end up seeing what that turns into. But one of the more interesting things to come out, well, let me not say interesting, kind of one of the expected things, Woj came out and said that the Bulls are reportedly the front runners to land Russell Westbrook if he's bought out. Now, the interesting part about this is the if portion of there, because apparently Russ has told the Utah Jazz and their ownership and their front office that he is willing to finish out the season there. Now, when you look at the Jazz, the motivation in buying out Russell Westbrook is just because you may not want him on his team and you knew he may not be there. But if he's willing to be there, what's the point of buying him out? You might as well get something out of him. So, we'll see if he is bought up. I still do think, and I think kind of the common thought process around the league is that he is going to get bought out. And, that's something that, if it does happen, should the Bulls sign him? We actually have a voicemail on that, so I'm not going to go into that too heavily now. But, we'll end up seeing. And, I mean, at this point, I think that even if the Bulls did sign Russell Westbrook, is it more one of those plays to be like, look, we did something? Or is it something that AK, the coaching staff, actually thinks is going to help this team in their playoff push. And that really remains to be seen. I'm not too hopeful, but as you guys know, and if you've seen my last couple of videos, I'm kind of at a place right now just being down on the Bulls team overall. But we'll see what turns into and what it turns into. But all right, let's go ahead and get into the voicemails today. This first one, this is from Shay, leaving probably his best voicemail ever.
What's up, guys? This is Shay. You know, this may not be a Chicago Bulls take, but this pertains to the Chicago Bulls. For all of y'all that's wanting top free agents, after seeing what happened with Russell Westbrook and James Harden, Chris Paul and James Harden, this Lakers experiment and this Brooklyn Nets experiment, this should really change your mind on wanting to get big stars and trying to pair up super teams and all of that. Because let's face it, more times than not, they haven't worked out. You know, everybody's talking about, oh, Kevin Durant getting traded to the Phoenix Suns or Kyrie Irving getting traded to the Dallas Mavericks. Look, unless you have a system in place like the Miami Heat did when they got LeBron and Bosh, or like Golden State did when they had Kevin Durant, or like Greg Popovich from San Antonio Spurs, that super team shit won't work. Now, don't get me wrong, okay? If we do get somebody that could take the pressure off of Zach LaVine, Vucevic, and hell, even DeMar DeRozan, and something that we need, we probably could be a better team. But let's stop as a team, y'all. Let's just stop trying to get these big name superstars like Kevin Durant and all of that and all of them names in here, because by the looks of it recently, in recent years, that shit's not working. The super team shit, it just doesn't pan out more times than not. And at this point, I'm pretty much over the super teams and wanting the big name free agents. Now, unless they start performing well and we actually do get a guaranteed championship, okay, then my mind will change. But at this point, man, I'm over it. Anyway, Hayes, tell me what you think.
All right, Shay, in saying that the super teams and their recent failings, and this is a great point. Now, you did say that they didn't come together, and then you pointed out some instances in which they did work out. And what I saw in that is the common thing is having a strong head coach. When you look at the Miami Heat, Eric Spoelstra, a strong head coach. Now, of course, at that time, we really didn't know just how good of a coach Eric Spoelstra was, but has strong head coach. When you look at the Golden State Warriors, Steve Kerr, a strong head coach. You even mentioned Greg Popovich. I really have never looked at the Spurs being a super team, but even then, in the way that talent came together, guess what? A strong head coach. That's really what it all comes down to, is how strong is the head coach. And the fact of the matter is, we don't have a strong head coach in Billy Donovan. And so fans are always going to clamor after going after the big name free agents, because this is still the NBA. It's a star driven league. And usually you have to have one of those generational type talents to win a championship. So, you know, I get where Shay's going at, is not clamoring after every big name free agent and wanting all these trades, because yes, a lot of them haven't worked out. When you look at the Brooklyn Nets and how that team worked out, and one of the things that I'm pointing to with that team is that's a team that the players put together. Kyrie and KD wanted to play together. They end up recruiting Harden then wants out, and then everything kind of falls. They even pick their coach, things like that. So when I look at it, I look at it as this. You have to have a strong head coach to step up to players, and then those players have to buy into that system. And the fact of the matter is, you have to have a coach that has a mindset on how to use the players and how to fit the dominoes and Legos together. Dominoes, I don't know if that's really the right analogy I wanted to go with there, but you have to have those type of things in place if you're going to, for any superstar, because superstars in a league where the player empowerment movement is going, you have to have a strong front office that has a plan to build around that superstar or superstars if you're lucky to have multiple of them. And then you also have to have a strong head coach and smart head coach that not only can come up with a game plan to make those players' games come together, but also to just build the team, build up the morale, lead that team. So what I'll say is this: Bulls fans and fans in general of sports are never going to stop clamoring after stars of that sport to come to their franchise. But the way that you put it together, it has to be a vision by the front office, and then you have to have a head coach that's strong enough, smart enough, and an X's and O good enough coach to make it all fit together. Because when you look at it, like the Miami Heat, that their first almost season as a whole, that team did not fit together very well. You had, it was more so you get a quarter, I get a quarter, they get a quarter. But then over time, that team just learned to play together better. And so then we saw them go on runs. Then we saw them win titles. And then as far as the Golden State Warriors, you just had a coach in Steve Kerr that just understood and built a system that every one of those dangerous players were able to go off. And then bringing in KD, another ball dominant player, he just figured out a way to make it work, and they found success. So I think that's kind of the bigger story there, is that, yes, you can bring in stars, but do you have the franchise and the framework in place in your franchise and your coaching staff that is going to be able to support and match up to the star power of those superstars to basically be able to still hold on to leadership and not let those stars run away with your franchise? All right, let's get into this next voicemail. This one's from Reginald.
Hey, this is Reginald from Columbus, Georgia. Man, I keep hearing a lot of talk about Russell Westbrook coming to Chicago, how he might be a good fit to get scoring off the bench, but I just don't see it. I mean, we all get frustrated about how ball dominant DeMar is, or how many dumb turnovers that gives, or how certain guys can't shoot the three. I mean, Russell Westbrook's all of those things in one, so I don't see him being here, improve Chicago at all. And I don't think John Wall does either. So, I'm just in a bad mood because the Lakers took Vanderbilt from us. So, right now, I just think the Bulls should just stay away from those two guys. And if anything, I'd rather the Bulls got Melo off the street than anyone else, because at least he stretches the floor, at least he gives you offense off the bench. My only main concern is whether or not he's even in basketball shape, because we haven't seen him in almost a year. So, yeah, that's all I want to say. Thanks.
All right. And Reginald brings up Russell Westbrook, and this is the voicemail I was talking about earlier in saying that, we got a voicemail on this, so I wasn't going to go too heavily into it. And the fact of the matter is this: Russell Westbrook as a bench player averages 16, 6, and 7.5. That can fit on any bench. Yes, he is a ball dominant player. Yes, he doesn't play the best defense, but the difference of the matter is that when you look at that bench lineup, our bench is set to have a player that it can be ball dominant and really can carry much of the scoring load. Now, I'm not saying that Russ is the perfect ideal for this team at all, because he's not. But I do think that there is a way in which that can fit when you look at the fact that we really don't have a player off the bench that is just, hey, I'm about to get you a bucket. And it also takes some pressures off our starters in that starting lineup. And I do think there's a way that can work, because then Russell also is a willing passer. Kobe's still going to get his shots. It's going to take some stuff away from Goran. But then on top of that, Caruso, he's a player that we don't want to shoot. What does he do best? He gets out in transition. He gets turnovers. He plays defense. That can get that out in transition with Russ, Javante when he comes back, and Andre Drummond. I do see a world in which that works. Now, again, Billy Donovan would have to coach that team. He would have to coach that second unit. He'd have to come up with a scheme, but I do think that it could work. Is it perfect? No, it's not. And as far as Melo, it doesn't seem like Melo's going to be playing basketball. If the Bulls were going to bring him in, he's been out there all, and so I get the thought and idea around Carmelo, but I just don't see it happen. I don't think it's happening. But great voicemail from Reginald there. You guys can let me know what you think on it down below. Let's get into this next one. This one's from Auntie.
Hey, what's the word, Bird? It's your Auntie Goon. Sad, pissed the fuck off. First of all, I want to start off with your chat first. You got some stupid motherfuckers on your chat. What the fuck he means? It comes to the shot. It ain't cause of no motherfucking shots, you dumb motherfucker. They've been fucking up since the season started. Hell, they've been fucking up since Alonzo Ball got hurt last season. What Bulls team you watching? You one stupid motherfucker. You about the worst motherfucker that came on chat, bro. Hey, bro, next time you come on this motherfucking chat, just sit back and just listen and learn something. Don't say shit, cause you stupid as hell. That's about the dumbest shit I ever heard. It's cause of some fucking shots, or some fucking shots intensity, or some shit like that. Whatever the fuck you said, that was dumb, bro. Just shut the fuck up. Just come on the broadcast. If you want to come over there, listen. Don't say shit. You stupid. Now back to the Bulls. I don't know. It was embarrassing how we lose to a team that just got put together yesterday. Then I go on AK, on the Bulls, they give a little press conference. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck that you missed about I don't understand what the fuck he was talking about. Now, you know this team struggling. You know this team ain't playing well. They don't play together. Billy Gunn, True and Nance don't give a fuck. They not listening to Billy. They do what the fuck they want to do. Everybody's standing around. Everybody's walking. That's why you can't get no fast breaks, because everybody want to jog down the motherfucking court or walk down the motherfucking court. Tonight, everybody's standing around. No pacing. They looking at Brooklyn doing what the fuck they want to do. I'm just trying to figure out Bones Highland, whatever the fuck his name is. You could have got him for a little bit nothing. They got him for two second round draft picks or some shit. And you tell me you ain't see shit out there? And we fucked up. What you waiting on? Lonzo Ball to come back next season? Oh, I guess that's what y'all waiting on. Y'all gonna keep playing the way y'all playing. Y'all gonna be right next to Lonzo Ball at the crib. Looking at this shit on TV, saying what the fuck y'all should have did. You goofball Jamal. Y'all some dumb motherfuckers. I'm so sick of y'all. Like, I'm just irritated with y'all. Y'all embarrassing. Y'all make my ass itch. Like, I can't stand you motherfuckers. Billy, DeMar, Boots, Kobe, all you motherfuckers need to go. Y'all looking, I'm not the GM or the CEO. My shit would have been cleared a long time ago. I would have been cleared that shit. Everybody would have been fucking gone. Zach, your ass too. I'm sick of your ass too. I don't give a fuck. Everybody would have been fucking gone. This is embarrassing. This is some bullshit. Fuck you mean you ain't see shit out there. Bullshit don't want to spend no motherfucking money. That's their motherfucking problem.
And you guys know, usually when Auntie has a voicemail, I ain't got nothing to say afterwards. I will say this. The not spending money aspect of this team is frustrating as hell. And it's frustrating for a few different reasons. It's frustrating because, we've been rumored to be in line for some free agents and trades. We just don't want to go over the luxury tax. Now, again, as I've always said, and I'm always going to say, paying the luxury tax does not automatically mean that your team is going to be good or be a contender. But when you have a team that has a high level of salary already, we're over the salary cap, but we're not into the luxury tax. I think sometimes there's a misconception that the Bulls don't go over the cap. We are over the cap. There's some space there between over the cap and the luxury tax. The Bulls spend over the cap regularly, so they spend money. But it's just that when you need to add some things to your team, sometimes, especially because we haven't always attracted the best free agents, and I don't know how the perception around the Bulls has changed since AK is taking over, if we can get some big time free agents, but you have to usually trade for those people to get them. And usually in trades, sometimes you incentivize other teams by trading and taking on more salary than you send out. And that would send the Bulls into the luxury tax. So it really just depends on if this team is like, and I know we've heard it all the time. Jerry is willing to pay the luxury tax for a contender. But what does that mean? Does that mean you're willing to pay to become a contender? Or are you willing to pay to keep a contender together? Because to me, we've paid the luxury tax once in the luxury tax era. And to me, that team was almost a team that was willing to compete. And then we started seeing us trade away pieces because the Reinsdorfs didn't want us to go into the luxury tax. And again, yes, Derrick Rose was hurt. So there was some question around how much he was going to return. And if he did return, was he even going to be the same player? But that was a team that you could have paid to keep together. And we were damn near Eastern Conference finalists, even without Derrick Rose being there. So like, I just have my doubts around the Reinsdorf's willingness to pay the luxury tax. But again, it's up to the front office within the framework of whatever the ownership gives, right? So that's any team. If the ownership gives you a framework to live within, it's up to that front office to find a way to make a successful team based upon that framework that the ownership gives you. So, yeah, we're a cheap ownership group, and that's unfortunate. But like we all know, that's the thing. And it's up to AK to find a way to build a team that can compete with that framework, because he accepted the job. And if he did his research and due diligence, he should have known it was going to be highly unlikely that we were about to pay the luxury tax to build a team. So, that's my thought on that. Shout out to Goon for always. Goon went off on y'all. But let's get into this next voicemail. This one's for Michael Korn.
Hey, Hayes, what's up? Michael Korn here. You were livid yesterday. I heard your commentary after the game. Spot on, man. Thanks for speaking for a lot of us and how we feel. AKME, they perhaps had a really good plan A coming into this, but it collapsed, obviously. And watching his press conference, it's clear and just reinforces everything we've been saying, that they have no plan B. He said, here's a quote from his press conference yesterday: "It's very hard to make deals as a buyer in a buyer's market. We thought the best opportunity for those deals were going to be during the draft and free agency. Some of those deals will be again on the table in the summer." That's bollocks, As far as the same deals being there in the summer. There's an old wise saying, you can't step into the same river twice. It's just really clear that the lack of passion, the lack of energy that the Bulls players have is on them, but it also stems from the organizational flaws. And it's just maddening to think that AK or AKME will, say what they do, expecting Bulls fans to just absorb it and go, yeah, I see what you're doing. It's just such bullshit. Looking forward to the Mailbag show to hear you on the really, again, hammer away at, it's not even hammering away, it's just articulating what so many of us are feeling as longtime Bulls fans. When you say Bulls fans, as Bulls fans, we deserve better, absolutely, 100%. If you're a Bulls team, you got to earn the respect of the fans, even more than your audience of general manager and ownership. You got to play for not just yourselves, but you got to play for the city. You got to play for the fans. And we have really high standards considering we've had rock bottom teams and we've had the best teams. Bulls need to get their shit together. So fed up with this season. Love the show. Thanks for all the content you provide. When you need to take a break, and I think everyone here will understand that you got to wrap your mind around something else because this shit could kill you. I look at every other team. Every other team is a team I go like, wow, there's so much more hope with that team and what they've got than what the Bulls have built. Anyway, thanks a lot. Sorry for the dog barking. I got to take her out. I'm actually got to get back to work. Thanks, Hayes. Bye-bye.
And this is Michael Korn is usually always on point. Matter of fact, all the callers today are on point. And I do want to also say, if I did not get to your voicemail today, remember, we have 2 Mailbag episodes on the weekend, usually because you guys call so much. We got tons of voicemails, of course, with the trade deadline. So if I didn't get to your voicemail on today's episode, it will be on Sunday's episode. But great. AKME not having a plan B. And I've never really thought about it that way, but it's really evident when you think about it. Just think about it. He put this team together with Lonzo, and then all we've heard so far, we liked how we looked with Lonzo. If we get Lonzo back, we think we're pretty confident in what this team could look like. And it's like, okay, yeah, we did look really good. We shout out to those 25 games where the Bulls looked amazing. But what is it? At what cost? Right? At what cost? What did it take to get there? So, we'll see what it ends up turning into for the Chicago Bulls. But yeah, AKME not having any play, it really doesn't seem like he's found a way to really kind of rebuild that team on the fly. Not complete rebuild, because I know that word is triggering in a lot of books. Not completely rebuild, but to kind of figure out a way to keep this team firing on all cylinders, because we're not going to have Lonzo. And the fact of the matter is, Lonzo is not walking through that door anytime soon. And now we got the reported expectation that Lonzo is expected to be shut down for the rest of the season officially once we get to the All-Star break. So it's going to be more bad news coming for the Chicago Bulls. And AK, I'll tell you what, this offseason is the offseason. We need to see what the plan B is. Not even the plan B. You have to have a new plan A at this point going into the next season. And so you didn't do anything at this trade deadline. You said you wanted to look at this team over the remaining 28 games. Cool. Because if you look at this team and you don't come up with something to make us better, AK, I got some issues with you, bro. But let's go ahead and get into the next voicemail. This one's from the last one. This one's from 8 Lives.
What's going on here? This is 8 Lives, man. I called myself giving you a mailbag before the trade deadline, but I wanted to see something else after the trade deadline and all the little BS that went on. Definitely terrible they lost to the Brooklyn Nets. Man, they deserve all the criticism. But as far as the front office, bro, in my opinion, how I see it, I'm just saying, in my opinion, bro, I ain't really mad that the Bulls ain't make no trade for a couple of reasons. One, Billy can't even coach the goddamn players we got. And, you should bring in heavy different players to this team, and Billy, he having trouble coaching. That's how I see it. I could see him dealing with Westbrook because he dealt with him before, but I wouldn't be. But if I was AK, these his first 2 years, just like his little baby, he probably just want to see it through. You know what I'm saying? Give his people a little chance, and
You know, I believe if we go terrible, he's gonna bust it open, you know, next year. When I say bust it open, just make some adjustments, make the real adjustments. But I don't really think we should have really made no trade. I think we just was minding everybody else's business. It looked good. We could have moved a couple of pieces. Caruso, I believe. You know what I'm saying? There's a couple of pieces we could have moved, but I want to see what these dudes gonna do, man. Win, lose, or draw, bro. I think that's my opinion on that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But they definitely got a lack of heart, man. You was on point, you know, after Brooklyn loss, man. I just think DeMar was caught up in them trades, man, them heavy name trades, man. He just had a lack of heart when he was shooting his free throws, was just bogus. They wasn't crisp like he was. This is like he didn't even care. But I ain't gonna kill him for one night. We'll see what they do the rest before the All-Star break. Holla at you, bro.
All right, 8 Lives talked about Billy's coaching. And so I love this, right? Because even if the Bulls, and I've said this before, this is the mindset that I have when it comes to the Bulls fans and say, let's blow it all up and retool. Okay, to retool, that means we're gonna be a young team with getting a lot of hopefully high draft picks at that point. What has Billy Donovan showed us to make us believe that he's going to be able to develop those players, right? So that, and then even to Shay's voicemail earlier saying, well, if the Bulls, you know, brought up superstars, okay, what do we have a strong enough head coach, right? Billy's coaching hurts. Billy's lack of leadership hurts this team. Billy's lack of a development plan for the players that are playing hurts this team. All those things play a part into why the Bulls are where they are right now. And I don't know if we have the head coach that is going to support when we are ready. And I've always said that Billy Donovan is not going to be the head coach of the Chicago Bulls whenever we do become a championship team again. Now, especially if it's not for another 30 years, then of course, but I just don't see that in Billy Donovan. And again, that's not to say it's all on him, but he is definitely a big part of the problem. You guys can let me know what you think down below. But that's it for today's episode of Chicago Bulls Central. Make sure you're following the show at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullscentralpod@gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the Mailbag episode tomorrow, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bulls related because of you guys. And like I like to end everything on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See red if you can. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.